Hello, welcome to another dance music tutorial. In this video we're going to be looking at how a kick should be compressed, or at least have the correct understanding on how to compress a kick. So I'm going to assume that you do have some understanding of compression, or at least understand the settings and what they do. So this is what we're working on today. As a little sideline, if you can guess how many leads are within this folder here, this orange one, if you can guess how many are simultaneously playing, just leave us a comment below and I'll give you a mention in the next video. So, swiftly moving on. Why do we need to compress the kick? Now that's one question that I get asked a lot. So if we leave that kick uncompressed, we're going to let that kick fight its way to dominate the mix. It's going to result in kind of audible nastiness towards the mixing stage, and you're going to have a lot of low ends, kind of just flubbing and all that sort of thing in the low end. And it's not nice when you hear it on a sub or in the headphones. It kind of really destroys the mid and top range of the track. So you've got to make sure it's nice and evenly balanced. And you're going to get artifacts which really do affect that by not having the kick compressed at all and the bass kind of mixing with it. So the kind of key to a good mix is the basic foundations on which the track is built. So obviously you need to have a good kick drum, and it needs to be controlled correctly with EQ and compression. Now in this video we're not going to be looking at EQ, but we're going to be looking at the compression side of it and everything you kind of need to know. So to use the compressor, these are the settings that are being used in this track that I am actually building right now. So let's just have a quick run through. We're going to start with the ratio. I like to work from ratio to threshold to attack to release, just because kind of the ratio determines what the threshold's going to do. So really I like to see it that way around. So the ratio is set to 2 to 1, or near enough there, and that means that it's going to every 2 decibels of audio that goes over the threshold that you set, it's going to knock it down 1. So as you can see, it's reducing around -3 to -4 there, and the attack is set quite quickly, but it's not as fast as it can go, as you can see there. We'll explain that in a second. Release is set kind of a little bit slower. It's not as fast as it can go, but all will be explained. And finally, the knee and threshold. The knee we'll explain at the end, and the threshold is what we'll do next. So the ratio is determining what the reduction is. The threshold is determining the roof of the sound, which is here. You can see this dotted line, this is the roof. If we move that, we move the roof, and the compression is applied more because more of the sound is going over the threshold. So let's turn it back down to about 6 decibels. Now the attack directly works with these two compression settings here. The attack is determining how quick that compressor turns on when that sound triggers the compressor. So we want it pretty fast. The kick is straight on the dot. There's no messing around, it's sharp. So we want a nice fast attack, but not too fast where you create a click. We don't want any sort of click in there, because it really does get audible in like the top end when you're kind of mixing down the hats and things like that. Next, the release. Now it's a little bit slower, and the reason is it's tailored to the kick drum and kind of the spacings of the kick drum. So if you look at how that is returning back, it's returning quite well. If we turn it up, it's not returning to its kind of off position. It's constantly under compression. You want it to be able to turn off by the next kick. The kick needs to be cutting through straight away after, so it needs to be off by the next kick. So where I've worked out that is, you can see there's a bit of a long space there. Just keep dragging it up. Use your ears. If you've got visuals, it's much better. And that's about where I can see, maybe a bit less than that. So there you go, that is the release. And finally the knee. Now the knee is quite difficult to explain, but it's more of determining how hard the compressor works with the settings used. So the threshold, the ratio, the attack and the release. The knee determines how vicious they are towards the sound. So a soft knee is going to be a nice smooth curve to the compressor. It's going to be a nice soft approach, whereas a hard knee is going to be more like an on and off switch. It's going to be more it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, but all depending on the compressor settings. So when would you use this type of compression? Well, obviously you're going to be using this from the very beginning of the track. You ideally need to put the kick in there as soon as possible, in my opinion. You'll run into difficulties if you start trying to do this when you've got like all these elements here. You're going to struggle to do it just because you built a track around all the elements with the kicks not being included. And that's kind of what's happened here, but it still kind of fits nicely, so it's going to be built upon. Finally, if the kick isn't working, ditch it, start with a new kick, build a new kick, whatever you're going to do, just get rid of it, because if you're working too hard to get it to fit, it's not the right one for the mix. Either that or you change the entire structure of your song. You're not going to do that. Okay, so just looking at that video over in a quick summary, you need to start working on that kick a lot earlier than the rest of the mix where you can. You've got to understand what the compressor is doing to the kick, and not necessarily aim to reduce the kick's volume, but to bring it under control and just stop it kind of just going wherever it likes. Keep it nice and tight. Again, if you're spending too much time on the kick, abandon it, start again, build yourself a new one. So there you have it. That is a little bit on compression. I hope you actually enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a like, subscribe, and leave me a comment, because I'm always wanting to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you for watching.